Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. Look, if you're trying to look for the easiest personal loan with a low credit score, okay, and you're trying to get up to $50,000, there's going to be two main factors, actually three, okay? One, the biggest one is the income, all right? And so let me tell you about universal credit, all right? So with universal credit, the minimum credit score is a 560. Okay, so that satisfies your low credit score right there. However, here's the thing about it. The age of your credit file, all right, this really matters because they want your credit file to be at least 2 years old. Now, here's a secret to actually aging your credit file. All right, if you know that you have a new credit file and you have low income, this is how you age your credit file. One is if it's possible to add on an authorized user. Now, with authorized users, all of them do not transfer the aging. Let's just say like you wanted American Express. So American Express, aging does not transfer over. All right. Now, American Express authorized user is good internally. However, if you're trying to add on an authorized user like American Express to age a file, the aging won't go over. Okay. So that's the reason why I tell you it's just only certain authorized users you can actually put on the file. That's not only going to lower your DTI, your debt to income ratio, which is another point I'm going to talk about, your DTI, but also aging the credit file. So that's the reason we have a selective amount of authorized users we usually put on a client's file, because we know that the aging is going to help them. All right. Now, number two, looking at universal credit. All right. So their DTI is 70%. Okay. Excuse me, 75%. So that means that's including rent or mortgage. So here's the challenge with a lot of people, all right? The thing about it, like when you go to the bank or you go to a credit union, the reason they won't give you a loan is because of your utilization, usually over 55, 60%. Now, the interesting thing, like maybe PenFed. Now, PenFed may be flexible enough to give you a loan when your DTI. All right. So they may be flexible enough to give you a loan with a DTI of 60%. But most lenders, they won't give you a loan when you have a high DTI. So going back to universal credit, again, it's 75%. All right. Now, another thing, especially when you're trying to get up to $50,000 and talking about the income, talking about the income, is that I always tell you, when you're trying to get over $5,000, then your income needs to be above $45,000. All right. This is one data point that a lot of people miss. Now, will they accept your household income? So what I mean by that, you may be on government assistance, or you may be receiving like government benefits, right? However, you may have somebody else in the household that's also contributing to those expenses in the household. And so their income combined with your income, most of the time, like a spousal, or again, you may be renting out a room or something like that, hint, that has helped you qualify to give you a boost of income. Okay, and it's because of stated income. Now, here's something else that you do need to know that many people are not aware of. Here's the thing about it. When you applying for a loan, all right, and if you're trying to avoid paperwork, one of the things you have to do is make sure you keep that loan under $25,000. If you go over that 25,000, then they may ask for paperwork. So a low income score isn't what's keeping you. It's just in a matter of how you actually are applying for the loan. So if you want to avoid the paperwork from like universal credit, please make sure that you are not trying to apply for anything over $25,000. All right. So that's the reason why I continue to tell you these data points, so you'll be aware. Now, here's something else in terms of, like I said, about the aging and stuff like that. We talked about the authorized users. The rental history, your rental history can actually age your report. Also, your utility bills. That's the reason why, like with your utility bills on Advantage 3 and 4, the aging of that actually makes a difference. And so since Universal Credit does not do a hard pull on your credit file, okay, they're not going to do a hard pull. They're going to use third-party credit bureaus. Now, since they're using a backup system like Upstart, so with Upstart, they may use LexisNexis. They may use, Teletrack, okay? They may even use Clarity, okay, which is owned by Experian. Teletrack is owned by Equifax. So by them using a third-party system, Universal using Upstart system, then if your address, okay, that you put on the application, if your address, now again, we're just talking about a low credit score. However, they're not focusing on that low credit score. They're focusing on that other data. So the application, okay, and I'll tell you another company that's actually snitching on you. So when you want to overinflate your information, there's a hidden credit bureau that I'm finna tell you about as well. But going back to the address, if the address on the application is not matching up with those third-party credit bureaus, then what ends up happening is they will reject your application, okay? And one other thing dealing with Universal Credit, before I tell you about this other third-party credit bureau that most people aren't even aware of, is that they may not be in all 50 states, all right? So yes, if you're in New York, Universal Credit will work with you if you're in New York, because I know New York is one of the hardest ones for people to actually try to find a loan, all right? Now, what I wanted to tell you about that hidden third-party credit bureau that's snitching on you is the work number. And so you have to actually block the work number. And the reason is because the work number is going to tell them about your last employer. It's going to tell them about the income. It's going to tell them about the address. So with some institutions, when they say, well, it's going to go under review, they may be looking at the work number data that's actually going to determine if you're going to qualify for the loan as well. So whenever you put in a loan application, they say they're going to it's going to go under review, then again, one, you may have asked for too much money looking at your income, and so they're going to look at this and it forces it into review. Now, here's the thing about it. Again, you have to make sure that you reach out to the work number. Everybody has a work number file. Everybody. Okay? It's a third-party credit bureau, but most people don't know about it. All right? And so it's going to tell you what the last employer is going to tell you, how much you're making. This is what that information is for. And yes, you can block that. You have to reach out to them. And it's just like it sounds. The word T-H-E. Okay? Or some people just said work number. Go to Google, type in work number, and you can actually get your file. And it's going to tell you everything that's on your file. All right? Even with those third-party credit bureaus that I mentioned, yes, those third-party credit bureaus, you actually can get your file. Okay, and you can correct things on it, because that may also be something that's actually keeping you from getting access, okay, to funding as well. All right, so I hope this video helps you. If you have any questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.